Yo, we're back. I'm back. I'm bootyless, but I'm back. Foul Hooked Whitey, episode 2. We were talking before about, of course, pro deals. To me, pro deals are a little bit of a dirty secret in the industry of fly fishing. That's the best way for me to summarize and wrap that up. They just are. They're a dirty secret because pro deals have allowed thousands of individuals that really don't deserve a pro deal to receive goods at a deep cut discount because they got on that pro deal. I think that's shitty. And, like I said, the example there of people circumventing the customer that comes in and, waste my dude's time and blah, 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 blah. Oh, fuck. I can get on a pro deal with Fish Pond. Biatch. And I could be calling a male a biatch, not calling a gal a biatch. So, the other part of the dirty secret in the industry, and this isn't even as common as pro deals, but it's larger in volume and it's actually a little bit more painful. I wrapped up the end of episode 1 with talking about a friend of mine who works at Costco who alerted me to the fact that fucking Costco's got a couple of dozen Air 2 9-foot 5-weight Winstons in the rack, and I'm just sitting there going, whoa, what? Basically, a dude went into Winston, bullshitted him, and got his hands on who knows how many rods. But they showed up in all of the Montana Costcos, and they were all 9-foot 5-weights, which is, of course, what you fucking sell. And they were, I sell them for 11 plus, real money for a great fucking rod. And the Air 2 is a great fucking rod. But Costco ended up getting a couple hundred of them at least. And, that fucking hurts me. They were selling them for, I think, $700 or $800. It was definitely 35% off of retail, maybe more, which even raises another question, but I'm not going to get into that because I love selling Winstons, and RL Winston is a great rod company. And there's always something good that comes from something shitty. And I'm going to tell you the good in this faux pas of Winston letting Costco get a hold of all these fucking premium rods and then discounting them during the season against cats like me. Okay? So Winston is managed by a territory sales rep. And this territory sales rep is a gentleman by the name of Eric Neufeld. And he's a friend, but he's more than a friend. He's a fucking earth mover in my game. That means that he can do a lot for you because of who he is. And that happens at times. And he's done that for me and East Rosebud so many fucking times, he should be a shareholder. So when this happened, these Winstons popped out there. Obviously, Mr. Neufeld manages Winston in this greater territory. When this went down, he knows the damage done more than fucking Winston. He knows the damage done more than even the dudes that let the cat out of the bag. And the cat's a very sellable 9-foot 5-weight Air 2. So, Mr. Neufeld literally, and I don't think that this is bad to reveal. I'm gonna anyway, but Mr. Neufeld protected people like me, protected some dude or dudes in Missoula, protected dudes in Los Angeles, protected dudes in Kalispell, Helena. He went around and bought up these fucking rods that Winston let get out in the market. He did that for dealers. And I don't want to get too much more personal than that, but he didn't exactly do it out of some big fucking trust fund. And, 24 rods at $7 do the fucking math. So in this whole subject of pro deals and vendors letting their product get out the back door to the wrong people. It's heroes like Eric Neufeld that give a guy like me who works hard faith. Because I know somebody corporate has got my back. And I don't know if you're a business person or not, but that ain't fucking everywhere. In case you don't know. So the point is that my Costco in my area of Billings, Montana, was a new Costco. And those rods sat in that new Costco for a couple of months after the initial batches started to appear in the Costcos throughout the state. There's a point to this. I can prove that this hurts me. That Costco opened up on a Thursday, a Friday, grand opening, brand new building, brand new Costco. Huge Costco in Billings historically, so they do a lot of biz here. They sold every one of those fucking rods in 2 or 3 days. $700-800 Winston, boom, 2 dozen of them gone. One store, couple of days. So that's the kind of fucking volume Costco does, and that's how I know it hurts me because, I mean, that's a couple of dozen fucking Winstons in this community, general area, whatever, that maybe a few of them would have been bought for me at retail, which would have kept my ass a fucking live. And so when this happens, you know, I reached out to Winston. They were really fucking contrite. They knew they fucked up. They were sorry, won't happen again. And you know, you believe them. But they got burned. And that's because some chump walked into their offices and said, I'm blah, 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 and I got a big charity, blah, 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 and you need to help me, blah, 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 because it'll blah, you know, it's just bullshit. And they got scammed, and they gave this motherfucker a few hundred rods, maybe more. You know, and it just was really, that's a blow to a cat like me. You know, 12, 15 years ago, my ex-wife calls me on the phone. I'm working, and she's like, hey, honey, is Costco supposed to have Patagonia? I'm like, fuck no. And at the time, I had a showroom of Patagonia that, you know, was longer than John Holmes's dick. I mean, seriously. I had so much fucking Patagonia. I was gagging on it, right? And I'm like, no, fuck, of course they're not. She texts me pictures of huge tables stacked with fucking nano puffs and down sweaters. All current colors, all authentic, all legit, whatever. And that was a huge example of how a vendor gets duped. And Patagonia didn't do a fucking thing. They couldn't do anything. It was too massive. It was 10 tables of all premium shit stacked 15 garments high. They could never buy that back or get that back. One thing that people don't really know about Costco is, you know, Costco is a great company, and this has nothing to do with fly fishing, but they're sleazy as fuck. There's a lot of the goods that Costco gets that they get from premium vendors, premium brands, but Costco doesn't have an account with that brand. So they're buying this premium shit from, you know, that motherfucker that walked into Winston. Same scammer, right? And they get duped for it. And current top merchandise getting into box stores like Costco, this Winston incident, this is not the first time that's happened. That's happened a lot. I got a call once from the great KC Walsh. And KC Walsh was the owner of Sims in terms of its, in my opinion, rise to stardom. You know, he oversaw a great company in a great industry, and I was lucky to be able to talk to him occasionally. And he called me and he said, hey, yo, Rich, and he does not say yo. KC Walsh doesn't say yo. But KC says, hey, go over to your Costco, and are there G3s over there? So I run the fuck over there, and just like that, KC Walsh, you know, says, if they're there, buy them and bring them over here. And sure as fuck, they've got like 2 dozen brand new pairs of Sims G3s at the Costco half a mile from my front door. So I'm like, yes, sir. I'll go over there and I'll get them right now. I'll bust those motherfuckers back to you. And there's a point to what I'm trying to explain here about company integrity and fly fishing. KC, before I went out the door, calls me back and says, hey, don't worry about it. We're sending a U-Haul around to all of the Costcos in Montana, and we're going to buy all these G3s up. The stack of G3s in the Billings Costco was 2 to 3 dozen pair. And they were selling them for $300-400 instead of $600 or whatever. Discounted. But Simms stepped up and protected me by doing that. The companies that allow this to happen, and trust me, it's them getting duped is when this happens, meaning a non-dealer like me gets their hands on a bunch of good shit. That's not supposed to happen. If my spring preseason next year with a vendor is like crazy ass, and trust me, I'm already fucking crazy ass with ordering stuff. But the reality of it is, if it's wacky, they scrutinize that shit. They care where their stuff goes. They care who has it. They care who sells it. They care for how much somebody sells it for. But it still happens. And it's just part of the headwind that somebody in my industry has to deal with when, in a lot of instances, they really shouldn't have to. And that's really the point of this. So it's just a little bit of foul-hooked whitey whining, and I love to do that. So thank you very much for listening. That's about it. We'll be back next week, and hopefully we'll have Bootylicious with us. Until then, keep fishing, and Foul Hooked Whitey is out.